Hey everyone, welcome back to Minibike Mike's. Well, my dad has done it again. He's rebuilt one of those old Michigan bikes, another one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, real quickly, back in April of 2024, I bought 24 Honda CT70s. I have an old camp up around the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, and it is now August 27th. So between April and August, myself, my father, a couple other guys have taken some bikes, and we're slowly going through these 24 bikes and just trying to bring them back up to something usable. They had been sitting outside since around 1982, so 40 plus years, and they were rough. Every engine was pretty much locked up. Every seat was gone. Seat pans were gone. There were no usable exhaust on any of the bikes, and they were just in really rough shape. But we've had fun going through them and getting them up and running. And my father, who's 83, he has done probably the most bikes. I've lost track now. This is bike 4 or 5 that he has resurrected himself. And so I just thought I'd show it to you today. It's going to be for sale. We're moving these bikes along to you guys, whoever wants them next. It's fairly original. I know the exhaust is off of a K0, you'll see. It's got a couple things, but we don't have titles, so we're not trying to restore them or build really nice bikes. We're not worried too much about lighting and those sort of things. We're just trying to get it functional, make a yard rider out of it, and then if you guys, whoever purchases it, wants to take it a step further, we'll have at it. But we feel like we've done our job of getting him up and making him a usable bike again. So that's where we're at with this one. So thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun with it. He said he's going to take a break for a little while. He's got a couple other projects he wants to knock out. So I don't think we'll see any more for a while. But I thought I'd show you this one, offer it up for sale. Let's see, got the keys already on. This one, like I said, this is original engine. I think he did change the piston in it and rings. So it's got some compression. Most of the switches do not work. The kill switch did work, so he used it. I'm going to grab the handheld, and let's just take a little walk around it, get a little closer look, and let you guys see what you think. So what we're looking at is a Honda CT70 K3. A lot of people will refer to them as a 1974 model, but I prefer to use the K models for anything prior to 1976. It came in 2 colors, this topaz orange, and then there was a blue. For some reason, all of a sudden, the name of the blue has lost me, but it came in the orange and the blue. This was the first model Honda put turn signals on. So you can see where the holes are here for the turn signal, and then there was a mount that came out from underneath the seat for the rear ones. They took off all the turn signals at the camp, and it kind of helped, but they still got some damage, like on these fork gears. I mean, these bikes were ridden by kids, and they got downed, and so all the handlebars are bent, and fork gears are bent, all those sorts of things. Headlights are all kicked off to sides, and fenders are wonky. But you know, that's the life of having a bunch of 10-year-old kids ride you. Let's see. So Dad went through this bike. He put brand new brake shoes on front and rear. The front forks the springs were locked up, rusted to the shafts, but he got it all. He got the front end all loosened up and moving. Let's see. I think I'd mentioned I believe he put a new piston and rings in it, but then used all the other parts. I believe that's the carburetor that was on it. He got it, got the slide out, freed up and everything. He did put it's got a brand new throttle cable on it. And he did get the original slide, the throttle slide to work. So it still has the original setup there. Now, the bike runs and it'll idle really good with the choke off. And it'll run a little bit, but it runs way better with the choke on. So it still needs some kind of tinkering with the choke or with the jets, or something needs to be cleaned. You saw me riding it early in the video. It runs really well, but it runs better with the choke on. So it's got some issues still in the carburetor somewhere. It's got the original key with the little black cover on it. I don't think that's the original side case. I think by this model, it had the Honda was different. It was like bigger and black outlined or something. I don't think that might be the side case, but I don't know. And some of these bikes, it's not necessarily myself or Dad put these parts on there. A lot of these bikes, when I got them, they had already been, people had been swapping around parts. Some of the bikes had the wrong tail lights and those sorts of things on them. So I'm not sure where that came from. It may or may not be original. I'm not an expert on the K3 model to know. Dad put a new chain on it. It does have a functioning hand brake for the front brake. There is no rear brake. This is the second run of K3s, which did away with the hand brake, and so it just has this little funky little perch right here for a mirror. Did not hold a lever. So on this particular model, it's got a hand lever for the front brake and a foot lever for the back brake. All that works just fine. As you can see, it's got a K0 style exhaust on it. As I mentioned earlier, none of the bikes had a usable exhaust, so this is just a used one we found on the shelf and Dad put it on there. The seat, while functional, it's got a cut in it on the top here on this cover that obviously somebody's recovered this. I think the pan was in decent shape, but it did have some repair spots. Yeah, I believe so. You can tell, yeah, it's been re-welded in a couple spots, but it's not horrible. I mean, I think it's definitely usable. Oh, shoot, I was going to leave that open for a second. This particular bike, the original gas tank was still usable. It hadn't rusted out or anything, so Dad was able to reuse that. It's got a lot of the original wiring. Still has the little black loop plug, you know, that is part of the battery plug. This red and blue wire would go to a battery. The engine does not require a battery to run. That was just for the lights. The back shocks are noisy and they stick down when you know, somebody 225 pounds like myself sits on it. Obviously, it's missing the tail light lens. It needs a whole new tail light if you want to get lights working on it. It does have a headlight, the bucket, and the light, but I make no guarantees on whether or not that's any good. Looks like it's got the old sealed bulb still in it, so don't know about that. Tires are shot, but you know, they're usable. There is a dent right here where you can see that line. There's a dent that they must have hit something. I don't know if it'll show up or not. Yeah, you can kind of see that. See that little, they've dented and scratched it right there. It seemed like, yeah, right here there's a little dent also. So, but as far as rust, the frame is pretty daggone solid. The other ones I've had were all rusted out right here. This bike did not have that on either side. Now it's got some surface stuff going on here, but it's not rusted through at all. No real holes in it. It's actually in pretty good shape. Some of them had even been rusty up and through here, and this one looks pretty good. It's got a build date of 4/74 on it. It does have a small oil leak. You can see that right there. That is You know, let's see, I wrote early, I started writing this video, or started riding the bike at the beginning of the video, and I rolled it in here. It's probably been sitting on this table for about 20 to 25 minutes, and that's, you know, it's leaked that much oil. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I don't know if it's a shifter seal or the stator. I'm not really sure, but it does have a small oil leak. And if you're going to ask me, am I planning on fixing any of this stuff I'm pointing out? No. I mean, we're done with it. We're moving on to other projects. I'm trying to keep the prices on these somewhat reasonable so that whoever buys it, you know, feels like, okay, yeah, they can still put a few $100s into it and do some things like that. Leave a little work for them, like that carburetor probably needs to either be replaced or cleaned. So if you have any questions, hit me up. But here's the kicker on this one. I've been selling most of these bikes for $800 when we get them done. This one, I'm going to ask a little bit more for it. And the only reason I'm doing that is because it has a working speedometer. This is one of, it might be the only bike of the 24 that actually had a functioning speedometer still on it. It shows 1,517 miles, which I don't know if there was a cable on. I don't know. It works. If you go back and watch the beginning of this video where I was riding the bike, you can see that it actually works. So I'm asking $1,000 for this as it sits. If you don't want the speedometer and I can keep the speedometer, I'll sell the bike to you for $800. Just like I've sold all the other bikes with a non-working speedometer. So I don't know what else I can point out or tell you. You know, like I said, none of the lighting or none of the electrical works. It's just runs, rides, and all the gears shift fine. It shifted through all 3 gears up and down. No issues, no clunkiness. The engine doesn't make a lot of noise. So there you go. If you got any questions, hit me up. My email, which is the easiest way to get a hold of me, ct70help@gmail.com, and I'll put that up on the screen here so you can see that. But as it sits, $1,000 picked up in Martinsville, Indiana. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.